Alright, I'm going to show you how to connect your Raspberry Pi Pico W microcontroller, how to mount it on your MicroPy Pico board. Okay, so you want to place the USB connector on the same direction as USB on the MicroPy Pico board. So you want to put it on the inner slots, as you can see, inner slots. So you mount it nicely. Okay, that's good. So if you connected that, the next thing is we're going to connect the OLED. So the OLED has 4 pins, which are the ground, the VCC, the SCL, and the SDA. So you're going to use your group to female connector cable, and you connect to GP to group 1, where you have group 1. Okay, so you mount this to group 1 nicely. Then the ground, which is you can see ground is GND, and you have a 3.3 volts. So these are going to be used to power the OLED. So in this case, the black one, which is ground, goes to the ground on the OLED. The VCC 3.3 volts goes to the VCC. Then we have the SCL and SDA. Okay, the GP0, which is the white one, goes to the SDA. So in this case, the SDA is the first one. Then the GP1, okay, which is the yellow cable, is connected to SCL for the OLED. So that is done. Then the next thing is we want to connect our DHT sensor. Okay, so we can use any of the other groups. So in this case, we can use group 5. So group 5 is connected to GP8 and GP9 of the microcontroller. So you connect this to it. Okay. Then the ground. So in this case, the ground is connected to where you have this negative pin here. So this one. Okay, so the VCC, that's the 3.3 volt, is connected to the middle pin, so take note. And in this case, we're going to use GP8. So GP8 is the white one. So this white connector, we can connect to the signal out where it shows S on the DHT sensor. Okay, so we've completed the connection of our OLED DHT sensor to the MicroPy Pico board, which has our Raspberry Pi Pico W microcontroller. So let's move on to the next. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is to program our Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller using a software called Thonny on our system. So to do that, we need to connect our USB cable. So if the micro USB goes into this direction, make sure you put it correctly and it clips properly. Then you need to connect the other end of the USB cable to the USB port on your system. So in this case, I have a USB port. Once you do that, make sure you put your hand to feel the components to make sure that they are not getting hot. If they are getting hot, then that means the connection is wrong, and you need to quickly disconnect. Okay. All right. Now that we have connected our OLED and DHT11 sensor to the Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller on the MicroPy Pico board, I'm going to show you how to program the Pico W so that you'll be able to read the temperature and humidity sensor and also display on the OLED. So the first thing you need to do is to open Thonny IDE. So Thonny IDE you can download. I will share the link on the below, in the video below. You download Thonny IDE, install it. After installing it, then you open your Thonny IDE on your system. Then first thing you need to do is to go to configure interpreter, and you need to select MicroPython Raspberry Pi Pico. So this you need to select first. You can leave this to detect the port automatically, meaning once you connect your USB to your system, your Thonny IDE will automatically connect using the USB port. Okay, so you click OK, that is done. Then you need to open a new file. So once you open a new file, it shows as untitled, just like you have on the screen. And the first thing we want to do, we want to create the library for our OLED display. So to do that, you need to go to this GitHub site. I will also provide a link in the video below. So once you go to this site, you'll find the ssd1306.py file. So all you need to do is just copy the codes, then you go back to your Thonny IDE and you paste it here, Ctrl B. So once you paste it there, you press Ctrl S, and you are meant to save the file to your Raspberry Pi Pico. So the Raspberry Pi Pico will save your file. So you need to save it as SSD. Just 1 second. SSD 1306 then .py. Make sure this is correct, ssd1306.py, and you press OK. I won't press OK because I already have it saved on my Raspberry Pi Pico, as you can see. So I'll do cancel here. Then after that, you need to open another file. So in this new file, okay, you're going to type the main code. Okay, so you copy the codes that I have on the screen. Again, I will also provide the link on the GitHub so that you can easily copy the codes from there. So you have the codes here. Okay, so the project is to measure environmental temperature and humidity, and the components needed is DHT11 and OLED. Okay, the microcontroller is the Raspberry Pi Pico W. Okay, so after that, the next thing is for us to import the necessary libraries. So this it's going to be imported from your what do you call it, your MicroPython that has been installed on the microcontroller. So again, I'm going to provide a link for how you can install your MicroPython to the microcontroller. It's not part of this video. Okay, so this library says from machine import pin. So because we need the pin class or the pin module, and the I2C. The I2C is to enable us to communicate with the OLED, while the pins are there to help us configure our general purpose input output of the Pico W. Then we need to import time in order for us to create some delays, and we need to import DHT. This is the library that allows us to measure our temperature and humidity from the DHT sensor. Then of course, this is the SSD1306 which I created. From this, we are able to control and display on the OLED. So we need to specify the dimensions of the OLED, which is 128 by 64. This is OLED 0.96 inches. Okay, so if you're using a different OLED dimension, you need to specify here. Then we need to initialize our OLED using our I2C. So remember, the FCL is connected to GP pin 1 of the microcontroller, and the SDA is connected to the GP0 on the microcontroller. Then the next thing is for us to initialize our DHT sensor. So remember, we connected our DHT11 to GP8 of our Raspberry Pi Pico W. Okay, then this is a function that receives the temperature and humidity. It clears the OLED display. So if there's something on the OLED display, it's going to clear it. Then it will display this text DHT11 sensor at position 00. Okay, then it will display the actual temperature. Okay, in centigrades, and also the humidity as well. Then this is the main loop where it tries to first measure the parameters from the DHT sensor, that is the temperature and humidity. Then from the measured data, it takes the temperature and humidity. Okay, then it calls the function to display the temperature and humidity, right? So it delays every 2 seconds before it repeats the process. And if there's an error, it's going to print the error, or if for some reason it tries to read the sensors and it cannot, it's going to display an error reading on the screen, all right, or on your console. Okay, so having done that, we need to save. Ctrl S. So again, you're going to save into your Raspberry Pi Pico. So in this case, you can give it any name. So let's say we call it DHT underscore temp underscore humidity .py. Okay, so there are 2 ways you can save this file. If you save it as DHT underscore temp underscore humidity.py, all right, it means every time you want to run the code, you have to open your Thonny IDE and you run the code. So let's say I save it this way first. Then now that I've written the code, everything is complete, I need to program my the microcontroller. So to program this code, I just save this code into your microcontroller. You just come to this button and click run script. So it's going to program the microcontroller, and yeah, so it has programmed the microcontroller. I'm going to show you next with my camera in some clips. Okay, so that's one way to do that. Then the second aspect is if I just want it, each time I power my microcontroller, it should display the humidity and the temperature. So I need to save it in a different format. So I will say file, I'll say save as. You can change save as. Okay, so again, okay, we need to stop because it's currently displaying the temperature. So we need to stop the microcontroller from running, and we say file, save as. Okay, Raspberry Pi Pico W. So you need to save it as main.py. All right, so there has to be only one main.py running on your Raspberry Pi Pico W or Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller. There has to be only one main.py. Okay, so what that means is this: anytime you power up your microcontroller, it's only that file that is going to run automatically. Okay, so if I say, all right, okay, do you want to override this? I think I have one there before. I'll say yes. Okay, so I have the main.py. So anytime I power my microcontrollers, I will show you now, it's going to display my temperature and humidity. All right, okay, so I've programmed my Pico W microcontroller. So I'm going to connect it to I'm going to power up using my laptop, and you can see it's going to take a few seconds. So you can see currently it's displaying the DHG level sensor. Temperature is 29 degrees centigrade and humidity is 27%. So it works perfectly well. All right, so you can power it with your system, or if you have a power bank of 5 volts, you can power it the system. So now next thing is, let's see how we can put it into our box and make it look like a complete project. So I'm going to show you how to assemble your project into this box. So first thing is we need to place our OLED. So you can choose to place it anywhere, but where I want to place it, I want to put it on top here. Okay, so I'm going to put it on top of this box this way. Alright, so this is the final product. So you can see the humidity sensor. So later on I'm going to put some glue to make it stand, and also put some glue to cover this up, then put some glue on this to hold the casing. Alright, so I've inserted my micro USB through this section of this slot. Then I'm going to connect to my power bank. So remember, my main file is running on my Pico. So if I power with my power bank, so give it some few seconds to come up. Okay, so as you can see, our temperature and humidity is currently showing on the screen. Okay, so our project is finished. So this completed project. So in my next video, I'll show you how you can use this project to control a lot of things. You can use it to monitor your coop or your poultry house. You can use it to monitor your rooms.